Because if you're always thinking, oh, he's the one, oh, she's the one, that's my second wife, or that's my fourth wife, or whatever, you get so focused in on the mind of the carnal mind meeting the needs that you want to meet, even though you know you're called to patriarchal marriage, or you may know that you're called. You're so focused on how am I going to work this out. I got one wife over here, I got one wife in Ohio, and I know that Yahweh allows us to have more than one wife, but one's in Ohio, one's in California, so how am I going to work all these things out? How am I going to feed everybody? How am I going to, and boom, blah, 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 and you're right into the carnal mind looking for your own solutions and your own strength.
Yeah.
I know what I'm talking about. I'm preaching real good today because of my breakfast.
I need some
fruit cup and gefilte fish.
Filter fish. I'm gonna have to taste that.
So that's the only thing about that. Otherwise, it's a blessed institution. If it was good enough for Yaakov and Abraham, it ought to be good enough for us. But if we start running ahead of Yahweh and we don't wait on Yahweh, like some of us do, don't look at me that way and don't cough at me that way. Then what happens is we can get a carnal mind because we know Yahweh's will and we know Yahweh's calling, but we start making these plans on how to do these things that Yahweh has showed us, and when we get into our plans, we don't see immediate provision for our plans, so then we get carnal minded by getting stressed out, anxious, confused, and now all of a sudden we're not kingdom building because we're so focused in on getting the fourth and fifth wife into the stable. Or if you already have 2 or 3 wives, you want to make sure they're all taken care of and you don't know how to do it because you only make $150 a week. All right, so you understand what I'm saying? But overall, it's a blessing. But that's why we need to have a kingdom mind. So the battle is in the mind. It's not in the flesh. If the flesh is covered, it's not in the heart. Now look at verse 7. Because the carnal mind is the enemy against Yahweh. So if you're a believer and you've learned the principles that Rabbi Moshe is talking to you, you'll learn how to cover your flesh. You'll learn how to cover your heart. Now the battle is the carnal mind versus the spiritual mind. But be advised, if you don't win this battle, that whenever you slip into a carnal mind, you are becoming an enemy of Yahweh. Impossible. How can a born-again, blood-washed, born-again child of Yahweh be an enemy of Yahweh? That's what the word says. When you slip into your carnal mind, at that stage, you are an enemy of Yahweh because you're not having a spiritual mind. Is that heavy enough for you, Ray? You can be saved, sanctified, brand new and going through. But when you slip into a carnal mind, at that point you're his enemy. Why? Verse 7 tells you why. Verse 7 tells you why. It is not subject to the Torah of Yahweh, neither can be. So in other words, the Torah of Yahweh is kadosh. It leads you in the right path. But the carnal mind that leads to death is not subject to the Torah that leads to life. Okay, Yahweh says I could have 3 homes. Then my carnal mind starts saying, well, cheat, steal, manipulate business, 4 businesses, expand the business. My carnal mind is making all these plans, and it's going to lead to death, anxiety, stress, and pressure. And Yahweh says, if you're a businessman, be satisfied with what I give you, trust me with what I give you, just go to work with a good attitude and bless your employees, make sure they have a Hanukkah bonus, make sure they have a Pesach bonus. They earn 70, give them 80. They earn 90, give them 100. And with that attitude, building up the kingdom and building up other people, he'll add all the other schmutz to you. So if somebody's called to patriarchal living, if Yahweh told you you're going to have 3 wives, you're going to have it. But you could sit and plan who's going to call who's going to email who's going to make the first move, who's going to ask her out. Okay? Instead of just saying, I don't care. I'm gonna preach the gospel. I'm gonna build the kingdom. I'm gonna write my books. I'm gonna share what Rabbi Moshe is sharing with me. I'm gonna study the word, and then because I'm spiritually minded, what am I gonna wind up reaping? Life. If I eat right, what am I going to wind up reaping? Health. My temple is going to be in a better position to enjoy life and to be around longer to help promote and minister. The kingdom of Yahweh is going to be built anyway, but I want Yahweh to use my temple so I can get the rewards in heaven and you can get the rewards in heaven. We want to be used by Yahweh.
Amen. Amen.
So look, the carnal mind that a believer could have is not subject to the Torah of Yahweh, neither indeed can ever be. Notice, and stay with me now, because I'm just getting started now. This is very important. Notice, carnality is not a flesh problem. It's a mind problem.
Okay.
For the believer. The world, forget about it. The flesh says, eat, you know, jump, you know, fornicate, yeah. Medicate your mind, droga, amphetamine, you know. When I was in the world, I was a wicked heathen. You know, everybody, all the rich people were snorting cocaine and Valiums and 3 Heinekens. That was the thing. Go to Bryan Adams' concert, drink 3 Heinekens and 4 Valiums, and then for dessert 2 Quaaludes. And of course, I was poor. I didn't have all that money, so I just went to the pharmacy and got RPs. Most of you don't even know what RPs are. Reducing pills. And when I ran out of money for reducing pills, I got whipped cream.
With the spray.
Aerosol.
You think I had a carnal mind? I was out of my mind. I didn't know where my mind was. So we're not talking about worldly people. We're talking about believers. A believer can have a carnal mind, and I have just diagnosed your problem. You ought to pay me a fee. But of course you should have said freely receive, freely give. If you're stressed out, you're anxious, you're nervous all the time, you can't sleep at night, you have insomnia, you're hearing voices all the time, you need psychotherapy, you don't have any peace. To be spiritually minded is life and peace. If you don't have life and peace, you are saved, but you're operating in the salvation realm with a carnal mind, not with a spiritual mind. How do we fix the problem? Look at verse 7. The carnal mind is an enemy of Yahweh. It is not subject to Yahweh's Torah, neither can be. So can someone go around with a big Torah? Ki mitzion teisei toho, and not be at all subject to Yahweh's Torah. Yeah, they can have one in every room of the house. They can have a Torah in every room of the house, but if their carnal mind is causing blockage, they have no peace, they have no joy, they have no shalom. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So what do we do about our carnal mind? I want to show you that carnality is not a flesh problem. Do you see that in verse 7? The flesh is covered, if we learn how to do that, by Yeshua's whole wheat unleavened bread. The carnal mind is the problem, so the mind is the problem. What do we do then? Are you ready? You're not going to hear this anywhere else. Mind control. Read my lips, sweetheart. You are here in the brother's house to engage in a long-term program of mind control.
Mind control. Amen.
Mind control. We want to control your mind. You know why? Because you've been controlling your own mind and look where it's gotten you.
Yep. Nada. Finito. Kaput.
And I'm the same way. When my mind controls me, I'm out in left field. I'm out of kilter and I'm out of balance. Definitely. I can't say, oh man, say that's true. I know Rabbi Moshe, that's true. So look, it's a mind problem. So how do we solve this mind problem? The carnal mind. We must look for a proper program of mind control. Not by man, but by the Ruach HaKodesh. Listen, the devil tells us Sunday is Shabbat. Yahweh says Shabbat is Shabbat. The devil tells us there's only one house of Israel. Yahweh says there are 2 houses. The devil tells us that polygamy is wicked and evil. Yahweh says in certain cases it can be blessed. And so the devil tells us that mind control is bad.